Yeah, here we are. Another one.
Yep.
Another one.
Yep.
Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to Outside the Cinema, your weekly source for occult movie discussion. We're your hosts, Bill and Chris.
Yep.
For over 27,000 weeks, we are your go-to weekly source. Actually, how many weeks would it be? Well, it would be 744 weeks, right? Because if we do an episode a week and we have a numbered episode every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, 744.
Jesus
well, there you go.
Christ. Okay, yeah.
There you go. I got new headphones, so everything sounds weird to me. I'm like, is it too loud? Do I sound like I'm on old-time radio?
Oh.
Okay, yeah, guys, welcome back this week on the show. We're doing a classic Cronenberg, and then we're doing another one of those found footage garbage piles that we've become so fond of.
Yeah, what was that one?
The Final Project?
Oh, that's right. That's right. I'm like, shit, did I watch it? Okay, good.
I knew it was bad when Chris texted me and asked me if it was a punishment.
I want to point out I was about 15 minutes into it.
Yeah, and it only got worse.
Yeah.
And it only got worse.
I'm like, are you mad at me? What the hell?
I know. I'm mad at my neighborhood, though, because they're pumping the sewer lines, so the whole fucking neighborhood smells like sewage. It's disgusting.
So it's like I'm there farting.
Yeah, I mean, it smells worse than your farts.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It does. I mean, not that those smell good, but anyway, yeah.
Like
Shivers.
Like they say, it's your point of view.
Fair.
It's all in your point of view.
We're doing the 1975 Cronenberg flick Shivers.
Shriveled. We're talking about shriveled. There's cold water, a pool, and nudity. It's shriveled.
Yeah, it is. I mean, for most people, it's the film that really introduced Cronenberg to the horror world. It's not his directorial debut, but it's early. I think it's number 3 if you look at his filmography. Overall.
Yeah, it's like when you look at Faith No More's albums, you're like, yeah, they got 2 more before that, but the real thing's really the good one.
Yep.
But I like the other 2 anyway. But yeah, that's how it is. That's everybody's like George Lucas, Star Wars, and no, American Graffiti and THX 1138.
Yeah, but THX 1138 is not very good.
No, but he does say what he wants to say with it, which is fine.
That's fair. Fair. But it's a long time since we've done a Cronenberg on the show.
Yeah, because we're running out.
Yeah.
Thankfully, he's making a new movie, so there we go.
I know we've done a bunch of them. We'll get into it when we get into the review, but I don't really have any housekeeping or anything this week. Not a whole lot going on. Oh, I will say this: those of you guys that have asked about the Woodsman and film festivals, I know we've gotten accepted to 3 so far. Unfortunately, I can't announce what any of them are, but I know that we've got it in 3 different parts of the country. So that'll be cool. As soon as I can let you guys know about that, I will.
Very nice.
Yeah, I don't have anything else going on. I mean, I've got a lot going on. I got
not for the show, right?
Yeah, I got a new episode of the Marshall Way karate course that just released that I that I did myself, produced, directed, wrote,
starred in
digital effects. And then I guess, and then Chip, the guy that's the sensei for the course, he did the rest of it. Just the 2 of us. I need Kyle focusing on other things right now. I can't be giving him everything, which is what I tend to do. All right. I'm all lubed up and ready to go.
Oh, my only bit of housekeeping is Frank and I recorded a new show, and as soon as I can get to it, I'll put it out.
That's a lie.
No, I actually have a show. It's on this computer over here. He was living in San Diego, and now he's moved. So in between that time, it was very uncertain, so we couldn't record.
Has he moved back here?
Not here, no. He's moved to be near family on the East Coast, but south of here.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know how much he wants people to know, so I'll tell you off air.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so mad at him for Down with Love, so...
I know, Jesus. I got to get him to recommend at least one other movie, so, like...
All right, let's just get right at Patreon, patreon.com/outsidethecinema. If you're a member already, thank you so much for your support. We love you. If you're not, check it out. You get the stuff early. There will be bonus content coming. There's a ton of bonus content in there already. I've got some plans for a few other things. It's just getting schedules together. And you get access to our massive show archive, which is available there, too. So, cool.
Nice.
Let's just get right into Shivers 1975. I'm sure it's got a cool 70s trailer, right? It must, right?
I don't know. It's not a mainstream Hollywood movie, so.
If you think you're not afraid of the dark.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
If you think you have a strong stomach. If you feel nothing can shock you. If you say you don't scare easily. If you believe you've seen everything, then prepare yourself for a motion picture that takes you beyond fear, beyond your wildest nightmares, and brings you face to face with terror, beyond the power of priest or science to exercise. What are they? Raging demons from another world? Bloodthirsty creatures that must be killed? Or incarnations of absolute evil? They possess men, women, and children, and drive them to acts of unbelievable horror. No one is safe from them. No power on earth can stop them. The only escape is death. If this picture doesn't make you scream and squirm, you'd better see a psychiatrist. Quick.
Okay, then. Shivers 1975, directed and written by David Cronenberg. If you are a fan of the show, you obviously know who Cronenberg is, best known for The Fly, Dead Ringers, Existence, Crash, you name it. He directed it, unless it's not one of his films.
That's a good point. You got to make sure you have that clarification that he's done a lot of movies, but only the ones he's done.
Yeah. So, I mean, Cronenberg is the master of body horror. You know, whether it's Videodrome or Existence, like he's known as a guy that does body horror. You know, whether it's something like The Dead Zone or even like, just like weird things. And then he's also just like hardcore to the fucking max. Eastern Promises, History of Violence.
Yeah.
Like all kinds of crazy shit going on. Dude's weird. But that's what makes him such an interesting director, because he does some pretty crazy out there stuff. And as we can see with his 1975 film that really brought him to the masses, it started early on.
It's very early stages, though.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean?
For sure. But there's a definite, and I know what word I want to say, and there's no way I'm going to say it right, eccentricity.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah?
That was good.
Not bad.
I'm proud
There's
of you.
definitely a very, an eccentric feel and flow to this film. It is very much rooted in that 1970s culty exploitation grindhouse type horror film. It's a new take or a different take on zombies, vampires, like all these kind of different like things told in a very unorthodox way that we were not used to seeing.
Right. And Rabid feels kind of like an extension of the same ideas.
Yep. Well, they're both filmed in and around Montreal.
Yeah.
So they have a very similar look, same film stock, a lot of the same crew. So that's why, and it came right on the heels of this. So because we did Rabid pretty recently, but right?
I think
Last year
so.
at some point.
I do remember having watched Rabid first and then the remake. And the remake I thought missed the mark, I think is a nice way to say it. They went for the shock, but without the story, it felt like.
Agreed.
I just wasn't invested in it.
I mean,
anyway, that's not what we're talking about this week.
Right, no, we're talking about Shivers, starring Paul Hampton, Joe Silver, Lynn Lowry, Alan Coleman, Barbara Steele, host of recognizable 70s actors and actresses in this. Basic story is we've got the residents of this new sort of high-tech island high-rise apartment building. The film opens with essentially a commercial or an infomercial advertising the Starliner apartments.
Yeah, it's very RoboCop
Starline
2.
Island apartments.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, when I was in Montreal back in April, and I went out to the island out there, and I saw this building, and I didn't realize it's just like that. I mean, they didn't use the interior of the building, but the exterior of the building is just like it's just an apartment building that's on the shore of the river.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
Yeah. But yeah, modern. The whole thing is it's everything you could ever want. We have an on-site medical facility, an on-site gym, like everything you could want here, so you don't ever have to leave if you don't want to.
Yeah.
We meet some of the residents, young folks, older folks. We meet a couple that's looking to find an apartment to move into there. Things start slow and then ramp up to 100 pretty quick.
Yeah.
We meet Nicholas, who's a husband who has got something going on. He doesn't feel well. He knows he doesn't feel well. He is in the bathroom getting ready to brush his teeth, and he starts to get sick. His wife comes in, and he just hates his wife. Like,
it seems like he just hates everything. He's a huge dick.
Yeah, he is. He's real mean to his wife, and she's like, "I'm fine." He's like, "I'm fine. Get out of here. Whatever. Leave me alone."
Yeah.
Goes about his business. Gets dressed to go to work. Only
Well,
he doesn't go to.
He does that push it on his stomach thing.
Oh yeah.
Now, something interesting about that. Like normally, if you got something inside you, like you're gonna push and you're gonna use like most of your hand. But Cronenberg has a way of directing his actors to examine themselves, and this is like a career-long thing. Like he doesn't just do a couple of body horror and then something else. It's like, no, this is his thing, and his thing is to have people examine themselves with 2 fingers. It's always 2 fingers, and he's got one hand. I'm gonna stand up for a second. So
right.
He's got one hand like this, and one hand, and he's pushing around like this, and it looks so strange when it's being done because he's pushing really far in. The dude is super hairy, which is fine, but it's just like you don't see hair like that on people anymore. But the way he has his characters self-examine is off-putting. He zeroed in on something really good with that weird hand behavior. And that was that to me was really the first, like, something's not right here. That's a little weird.
Well, I mean, we skipped over it when we were talking about the infomercial, but it's cut in with an attack happening in one of the apartments.
Yes.
Where there's an older gentleman, significantly older gentleman, roughing up a young lady. We don't know why. There's a point where he's choking her. And then she's trying to get away, and we don't know if it's like a sex thing or if it's like a home invasion. We don't really know anything, but we do know that he eventually chokes her out.
Yep.
And then proceeds to cut her up, and then slit his own throat.
Yeah, it was a weird bad fight because the guy's basically laying on the bed trying to pull her near him.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
It's not a fight that looks like he was trying to overpower her, which is a weird thing. And also, I thought it was a young boy in shorts at first, not a skirt. So I'm like, well, this is just weird. Okay.
Yes, I mean, it's par for the course when you're watching Cronenberg.
Yeah.
So as Nicholas Tudor is done examining his stomach and berating his wife, he leaves his house and he goes downstairs. We're thinking he's going to work, but he goes down to another floor. Gets out and enters another apartment and calls a female's name. And we realize that this is the apartment that we just saw the murder-suicide take place in. He appropriately does, oh! And then proceeds to slink his way out of the apartment and then go to work. Doesn't call the police or anything.
No.
Just pieces out.
Yeah.
But then the police do show up. We find out they bring up... So the police show up because the on-site doctor at the facility goes into the room. I don't remember exactly why he went into the room.
Oh no, he was looking for him. He was looking for his old associate or whatever. Right?
Oh yeah, didn't he say to meet me in this room?
Yeah, it was like what was the room? 1511. That's mentioned a
meet
lot.
Me in 1511.
Yeah. So it had to do with his
Bart.
research and stuff.
Yeah, so he finds the bodies of the two of them there, and he calls the police, and the police come down, ask him some questions, and, he's like, oh, I work at the on-site health facility, we're self-functioning here, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, well, it looks like, the doctor killed himself after killing her, which was pretty evident. So he then contacts another member that had been working with this guy, and is basically like, so, like, what's kind of like going on here? And he's like, oh, he'd been doing these experimentations with different parasites. Creating these parasites and basically using them to bring out everyone's desires.
Yeah.
But in turn, it just turned everyone into these mindless, sex-crazy zombies.
Which is kind of what he wanted, to return to base instincts.
But it's not. It doesn't go down the way that he wanted it to, because it's violent. It's not.
Right.
It's not soft.
I feel like if he made the movie now, I think he would change a couple things about it. Like the original doctors, like the whole idea is to use these parasites to replace organs in the body, because you don't have rejection with a parasite. So their theory is if a parasite could replace, say, a kidney, then you're fine. But I think, and this is, I'm not trying to second guess Cronenberg, but I think it might have been more, what's it called, sympathetic, if they were trying with symbiotic creatures first. And then this guy went and's like, no, we need something more aggressive. I'm going to use a parasite. Parasites kill the host. I mean, it's not a good idea to use a parasite. That's just why. Symbiotes, you can live together and be fine. And I think now, even in the late 80s, early 90s, I think he was way more sophisticated as a storyteller than he is right now. And I think he would have made it way more scientifically complicated, which would have been great.
Yeah, it's
just
short,
a thought.
You're not wrong. It's short on explanation in terms of the scientific side of things, and it seems like things got ramped up very quickly. But honestly, that's fine.
Yeah, no, he wanted to tell a shocking story right out of the gate.
Yeah.
So,
and we didn't. You don't. I mean, yeah, maybe it'd be nice to get a little more explanation, but you don't necessarily need it.
Right. It's tough,
but it gets you from point A to point B.
Yeah, it's tough going back and watching his early stuff after some of the more complicated things he does.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you watch History of Violence or Eastern Promises, like, as a storyteller, he's come so far. So far. Even in films like Crash, despite how weird and bizarre it is, all your pieces are there.
Right, right.
But I mean, you watch this and knowing the filmmaker, then it's very much like, okay, this is his feature, his feature debut.
He is showing that he has unique ideas and an artistic vision for how the film looks, but also the stuff in the film. And it really does feel like if he had more money, this would have looked better. Because
right. I mean 75.
Yeah,
the film board wasn't exactly rife with cash.
No, but he could have made.
They were pissed at him for making this movie.
Yeah, but I mean, he could have made Dead Ringers on this budget, and it would have felt like a B movie.
Right.
But you give him money and artists to bring his gross biomechanical vision to life, and it's great. And I love the fact that he gets money to do this stuff because his stories are visually more impactful with artists that do disturbing work. I'm thinking of the gynecological tools right now in Dead Ringers.
Yeah, it's gross.
Those could have really been a goofy looking thing if they weren't chrome and really, you know what I mean, like dead on. So I'm glad he gets money.
So we come to learn that the young girl that is murdered he was using her as the host for this parasite.
And he'd been having an affair with her since she was 12.
Gross. So we then learn that she was rather promiscuous with other men within the Starline Tower complex. Multiple men. We know now that Mr. Tudor that we'd met earlier is rife with these things, along with some other people. That dude, he's just looks like a dick.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He just looks like a jerk.
He really does. He is just... I want to hit him. I really do. He's an asshole 8 ways to Sunday, you know? So right off the bat.
Right, yeah. So we learn through this guy that these things are, like, pretty aggressive and jump from host to host based on any type of sexual arousal in the least bit. But we also see that sometimes that they also can remove themselves from people without that, because there's the part where he's standing on the balcony and he pukes one out and it lands on that lady's umbrella.
Yeah.
Which is gross. And she's just like, oh, poor bird. The bird flew into the building. And it was like,
yeah,
that's a lot of blood for a little bird. Like,
yeah, no kidding, huh?
So this phallic-like creature squirms its way out into the water or whatever, or into the pipes is where it ends up. I mean, there's really not a lot to the story from that point on. It's the doctor trying to figure out what's happening, trying to save himself, trying to save the girl that's the nurse there. Brings in the other doctor that was supposed to meet him there at one point, but he doesn't really help at all. He gets phallicked right away.
Phallicked. Yeah, I mean,
by Mr. Tudor.
Yeah.
So, it's, it's a weird watch because knowing what Cronenberg has become and what he has done since then, you're 100% correct in that, it's kind of difficult to watch it because he has become so much more of an auteur in, firming everything up and developing the story and shooting things. And, one of the things that I read was, he didn't really know how to use a crew.
Okay.
He still very much, was trying to do everything and control everything as the director, but he's got a full crew there. It's what, if you've got a cinematographer, you don't need to be lining up all the shots. If you've got, an assistant director, they're going to take care of getting the talent ready or whatever you need them to do.
Yeah, he wasn't ready to let go of any control.
Yeah, and which he then, later in his career obviously became very good at that. So
yeah.
It's a zombie movie played out like a porno.
Yeah.
In a weird sort of way, because it's definitely a zombie movie, and it takes a lot from Night of the Living Dead, and I would say Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yep.
But the thing is, once these things get control of them, there's no more human side to them. They become literal, just these sex craved monsters.
Yeah, their inhibitions are completely gone, and it does feel like Cronenberg's saying that if you give in to your baser instincts, at the expense of all else, you lose your humanity.
Yeah.
How about that?
I mean, that's actually that's really good actually.
Because every movie he makes, he's saying something. He's not he's not just a dude that's like, hey, let's put some gross stuff on. He's no Glenn Danzig, let me just say. All right? He's got a message, and all of his effects have no rips in them. So, there's that. Hey, I had a thought the other day. If I had to describe Danzig...
First time for anything.
Yeah. Well, hey, there's your first joke, so good job.
Dingers for days.
If I had to describe Glenn Danzig to somebody, I think I would say an emo Elvis impersonator that sings horror songs. Yeah, because he sounds like a goth Elvis, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, that's his shtick.
Yeah.
When he released the Danzig Sings Elvis album.
Oh shit, I forgot about that.
kind of cemented.
Oh no, I was just listening to Lucifage 2 the other day, I guess it was, or 3, I forget which one it was. I don't care. And I'm like, wow, try harder for Elvis, tiny Elvis. Tiny goth Elvis.
I want to, if I'm not mistaken, I think Bro would put that Danzig Sings Elvis record on his like best of records last year. And I'm like, what is wrong with you, man?
Hey, you
No,
can
it's
like
awesome.
something if it's garbage.
I'm like, what is wrong, man? Come on. And he's like, no, man, it's great. I'm like, no, it's really not.
I'm going to check it out on my way to work then.
Yeah, you'll probably love it.
I don't know, because I don't
It
like
seems
him.
like something that could be straight up your alley.
It could be so strange, yes, that it's like, this doesn't make me hate him
plays
at
them
all
pretty-
right now.
I mean, he plays them pretty like to the original. Like he doesn't like. It's
All
not
right.
like he revs them up or like they sound more modern for sure, but like he
Okay.
doesn't like add like blazing guitar solos to like Jailhouse Rock or anything like that.
Hey, you know what? I would prefer he does that kind of stuff than make another half-ass movie.
Oh, I mean, he's got that cowboy one coming out. So
I know, but another one. I mean, come on, don't make another one. But you know what,
he
though?
will.
Honestly,
if this one does well, he will.
honestly, though, hey, he's getting 2 movies made. I can't shit on him that much. Honestly, he's just a tiny, angry man. That's fine.
He's got to do something with all the money he's made all these years.
I remember seeing him first time on stage. It was Suicidal Tendencies, Danzig, and Metallica. And Suicidal Tendencies played, and he came out, and I'm like, oh my God, he's pocket size. He's so tiny on stage, like from far away. I'm like, look at him. This is him. This is Glenn Danzig, actual size, dressed up as Guy King. He stays in my house.
Pocket size. I can keep him in my hand.
Yeah.
So getting back to Shivers, though, I mean, this all plays out pretty much exactly the way that you're thinking it's going to.
Yeah.
And it's Cronenberg, so it has a fairly nihilistic ending.
Yeah.
But it's all, it all works. It all works for what it is. I watch this film now, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to go to it if I'm going to watch a Cronenberg movie. It's not my first pickup. It's probably not my third or fourth or even fifth.
Right.
Videodrome is actually probably my favorite Cronenberg film at this point. But it still has its place. Kind of like when you watch the earlier Romero stuff or what was Dark Star, Carpenter's Dark Star.
Yeah.
You can appreciate. You can still, it's not great, but you can still appreciate it because it's a filmmaker that you understand where they're gonna go, and you can kind of pick out the little things that they're doing early on that are going to become bigger parts of their career later. I actually quite like Shivers. I don't know. Did you like it? Without kind of giving away your grade and stuff?
As a whole, generally, yeah. Yeah.
It's an interesting take on the zombie movie.
It is.
It's not the first time I've seen something like that, but it's very much it really is Night of the Living Dead meets Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
It's actually a lot like Land of the Dead, if you think about it. People trapped in a building,
Goes to hell.
represents all of society, the collapse and all that, blah, blah, blah. And and I know Cronenberg does actually say, I think things were taken from this because I've seen Dan O'Bannon's ideas for the alien life cycle, and they're very similar. And, Land of the Dead really does owe a lot to this for the idea of people trapped inside a building that's supposed to be an all-in-one thing.
I'd agree.
So,
I'd agree with that. Yeah, 100%. Well, I mean, I don't really. It's kind of a classic, so I don't know what else we can really say.
yeah.
All right, then, Chris, do you recommend it, and what's your grade for Shivers?
I am going to recommend it, but hopefully you listened to the entire review and said that where we said that it's not like who he is. Shit, even 30 years ago, he's not the same filmmaker as he was when this was made. What I appreciate about this is that the actors and actresses, for the most part, they look like everyday people. There's not an overabundance of makeup. There's not a lot of prettying people up. It's really a lot like just, hey, this is how you look. All right, well, we'll put on enough makeup so you don't look dead on camera. So here we go. And I like that because Romero, fucking, stop talking about him. What's his name? Cronenberg has this way of something either in the camera or the way it's lit, or I don't know, but his humans look strange sometimes on camera.
I agree 100%.
And I don't know what it is. If it's
the
like
way he lights. I think it's the way he lights people.
Because I was thinking it might be some kind of like, and I know this would be way too early for him to start experimenting with like odd lenses and stuff, but I'm not saying that it has this fisheye lens feel to it, but there's...
Well, he definitely shoots with wide lenses. Like he probably shoots with 24 millimeter and below. I can't imagine he shoots with anything tighter than that.
Yeah, that's good. So he's definitely got a way of making you off kilter from the beginning. And you're always, as a viewer, for me, it feels like I'm always waiting for just a sense of normality, just a breath. And you do get that with your uninfected heroes, mainly the gruff-voiced scientist that comes in from the outside. He's like the voice of reason, and he feels like the most real person in the whole thing. So with that said, I had to point out how uncomfortable his like Gasper. No, I don't know. He has a way of using sound and lighting and camera movement. He's the other one that comes to mind real quick when I think of people that can
Make you uncomfortable immediately.
Yeah, like alienate an audience straight off the bat. or get you mentally in that mood. So I'm gonna.
Von Trier is very much, and Haneke is like that too.
Yeah. I'm gonna give this a B. Hold on a second. Stop it. Let me see. A B. A B.
A B.
It was either going to be a B or a B plus.
All right.
And that really is literally that's how much I liked it. It can be either. And the reason there's two choices for me there is because, well, I mean, it is an early movie and it does show like all of his early knowledge, but it's not refined, but it's what he could do. It's an interesting place to be. It's like if you find Da Vinci's 6th grade sketchbook. You're like, I see what you're going for there, but you're not the master you are yet.
Need a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So, all right then. Well, I'm obviously going to recommend it. I mean, it pales in comparison to like his masterpieces, like The Fly and Scanners.
And that's money. Really, I think it comes down to money, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because this could have been so disgusting.
Yeah, The Fly, Scanners, The Dead Zone, and The Brood, I think, are the ones that are like, if you're going to start with Cronenberg, you got to start with one of those. Maybe not The Dead Zone. The Dead Zone's kind of slow. But The Fly, Scanners, or The Brood are probably the three that, like, that's your starting point for Cronenberg.
Well, the Dead Zone's kind of unique for him, too, isn't it? Adapting a mainstream
Stephen King
novel,
Yeah, and it's good. It's really good.
Yeah.
But I think it might not be the best place to start because it's a little bit more quirky. But
yeah, it's a little more into the mind than the physical. So
right, exactly. Yeah. So don't start with this. So don't start with. Well, I mean, Dead Zone's not what we're talking about, but don't start with Shivers if you want to looking to get into Cronenberg. I'd say The Fly, Scanners, or The Brood are the ones to really kind of jump into.
My
but
first,
this is still very good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the first I remember seeing of his, I saw The Fly in the theater, and that's a depressing movie.
Oh, The Fly is so sad.
Yeah, and then the next one I saw, I forgot his name, was Dead Ringers. And if you go into a Cronenberg movie and you don't know who Cronenberg is, I'm sorry, because it happened to me. And I still, when I think of Dead Ringers, that is probably the most disturbing movie I've ever seen.
Right. Well, even History of Violence is like that because it's played so straight for so much of it.
Right.
And then that dude's like head explodes and you're like, oh shit, yeah, I'm watching a Cronenberg movie.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Viggo Mortensen's just like doing his thing, and then the guy's head blows up in the car, and you're like, oh shit.
Right. And I'm like, oh, it's a horror movie with Jeremy Irons. I like Jeremy Irons. I thought, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah. I'm a big Cronenberg fan. And I really enjoy this for what it is. I understand the low budget that he had. I still think he did a really good job with what he was given. And you can see all those building blocks of all those films that I just mentioned coming later on. So I'm gonna give it a B+. And it's a B movie, but I'm giving it the plus because it's really cool to see a master of his art honing that art.
Yeah.
And not already being that guy.
Yeah. And it's really nice to see that other people took influence from him. I do like to see that. Yeah. He is so completely underrated as a filmmaker. If you just go with the way he composes a shot and how he has his actors act on screen, it's just he's got such a unique vision, and it turns my stomach, and I love it.
Well, it's funny because Lynch and Cronenberg kind of always get talked about together, but I always feel like Lynch is the one that gets all the love. Cronenberg gets a lot of love in like cinephile circles, but I feel like David Lynch for some reason seems to get a lot more mainstream love.
Twin Peaks.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah.
Because for me, if you said you want to watch a Lynch movie or a Cronenberg movie, I'm going Cronenberg 99 times out of 100. I like Lynch, but his stuff to me is I have to be in a mood for surreal, winding mystery. Cronenberg is, what if this video game was alive? Right?
It's like into your stomach in something that looks strangely like a vagina.
Yeah. And he has such brilliant lines too. Like in Existence when he says, so you're having a hole put in your body that connects to your insides. How is that safe? And then Jennifer Jason Leigh opens her mouth and I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, we got a bunch of those holes already.
Yeah, we do.
And I'm like, that's brilliant. It's just his stuff is it can be really smart when it needs to be. I like that.
Me too. You know what isn't smart though? Our next movie.
June 6th. That's what's not smart. June 6th.
2016, The Final Project. Let's take a listen to a trailer.
Is this good? Yes. Hi, my name is Anna Davenport, and I'm a mass media major at the University of Southwestern Louisiana.
Is this on? We're going to see if this plantation is really haunted, but I'm going because I need the extra credit.
Alright, we're gonna do something different. We're gonna do a documentary on a haunted plantation.
What makes this place so unique?
It's a plantation, it's haunted, and I'm black, so that's the reason I'm first.
I'm asking people what they know about the Lafitte plantation.
Honey, you don't want no parts of that place. Ain't nothing good about it. As soon as you set foot in that place, you'll understand why you need to get in that van, turn it around, and go back to where you come from.
Jesus, lady.
This place is huge.
Got it on?
Yeah, I got it on.
This is creepy.
What's wrong? It's real static, dude. Did you hear that?
Whatever is in there is not there.
What is that?
Carl! Please. Please help me.
Okay, The Final Project, directed by Taylor Richard. And I say it like that because it's R-I''CHARD, not Taylor Richard, Taylor Richard.
That's different. Okay. I was gonna say strange, but I don't know if it is. So
So he directed this, and he's done. Looks like he did a TV show called In Pursuit of Dance. Some music videos, I don't really recognize anything here. Hallowed be thy name. Superstition. No, I don't know. I don't really recognize anything else this guy's done. So okay, I will start by paying this film a compliment, and I will tell you right now, up front, it is the only one it's going to get. They did something to explain how the footage looks and why the footage looks the way it does at the beginning of this movie. They didn't just do the hey, this was the footage and how it was found, or they disappeared and these are the tapes, somebody comes on with their face blurred out and a voice changing effect, basically being like, hey, we edited together the footage that we found after they disappeared. I'm looking for my sister Missy, or whichever one the sister was, Genevieve. Looking for my sister Genevieve. So we took this footage and we're going to show it to you, edited together, to hopefully find a way to find out what happened to them. So I'm like, all right, now you know what? If there's music cues,
right?
If there's any weird edits, if there's anything that comes up that is like, well, if they just found the footage, that wouldn't be there, goes a long way to explaining why it's like that. Because somebody has edited the footage together.
Right.
I was like, all right, cool. Maybe we're in for a good one. And then immediately it all went downhill.
Yes, because it's not really edited.
Nope. So
all right.
The story is basically you have 6 students. They are doing what is their final project for the most janky film class I've ever seen in my life. They're going to explore this abandoned plantation that is supposedly haunted. They give a couple minor stories as the reasons why it could be haunted. But, they just, are just the most unlikable people ever. And I know we've said that a lot lately with a lot of these movies. And there's a point where they're in class, and one of them is filming while they're in class.
Yep.
Talking about the project that they're going to do with the teacher, and then the teacher doesn't act like any teacher I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
He's just straight up rude to these kids.
Yeah.
One girl says something, and he's like, "Well, if you don't," he's like, "You haven't done any work all semester, so you're gonna fail unless you do this extra credit." And I'm like, a teacher wouldn't say that in front of the rest of the class.
Well, I mean, it depends how much of a dick that student is, because definitely that I may have heard words similar to that in my life in front of other people.
All right, fine, I'll give you that. But just the whole demeanor and the interaction with the way the students interact with the teacher and the way the teacher interacts with the students is just weird.
It was too weird. Friendly. It was. Let me ask you a question. Now, you have done a narrative short film there, right? So
yes.
Is it difficult to get people to just talk like they're having a conversation? Is that a problem? Because
I mean, no, I haven't had that problem, but I mean, I haven't worked on a lot of narrative stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, you've watched a lot, and you did the short, so you at least know what it's like to film a conversation between two people, right?
I mean, it's on the actors. I mean, if the actors are real stunted and can't flow, then yeah, it could be difficult. But I don't feel like for this type of film you even necessarily need to really act.
Right.
You just give them what the situation is.
That's what I was going to suggest. Yeah. Here are the points you have to say. This about the plantation, this about this. Now just act like you're douchey students and just talk, and then cut it together from that. These people were not believable. Every conversation they had where they were delivering movie-specific information, plot-driven stuff, felt like they were reading game instructions. It was just bad.
It was very stunted, very unnatural. They do all that stuff where when they're fooling around, they take everything to the 200th degree.
Yeah.
And they're mean to each other, and then the explanation of the project is so
There is an
they
explanation
explain
to the project?
Well, they explain it to the teacher, and they're like, "Oh, for our final project, we're going to do a documentary."
Yeah.
And the teacher's like, "Okay, what's the documentary going to be about?" And they're like, "Oh, we're going to explore this haunted plantation."
It's about me and my dickhead friends.
At that point, the teacher would be like, "Well, what's your narrative to the story?
Yeah, what are you trying to say?
Like,
yeah.
what's the point?" Like, and he kind of says it. He goes, "Well, what's so special about this place?"
Right.
And they just
That's
like,
a fair
it's haunted."
question. Yeah.
And people say it's haunted. Okay, well, what's the angle you're taking?
Yeah.
Or what are the potential angles you're going to take? Because as we all know in the documentary world, where you start might not necessarily be where you end up.
Oh, absolutely. Tickled is
So
a great
he's kinda
example of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's actually literally the perfect example. So
Finally, 14 years, I got a perfect example.
perfect example. The World Tickling Championships.
Oh.
No, it's just some weirdo. Oh,
I'm going to watch that with the kids this weekend. They're going to love it. It's going to be insane.
so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So like he's like questioning them, and they're just like, "Yeah, we're gonna we're gonna make a documentary."
Yeah.
I've made a couple. It's not how. No, that's not how you act.
Also, did you say the full word documentary 15 times a minute? Because they did.
Obviously, that's how you say it. This is a very true to life story and a very real film.
Did you abbreviate it to doc, though, after a certain point?
Obviously, yeah, we're working on the doc.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, so I'm listening to the Always Sunny in Philadelphia podcast, the official one with the actors. And I don't know about you. I call this a show. I got to do the show on Monday or whatever. Yep. Hey, listen to the show. Yep. For some reason, the word podcast rubs me the wrong way now.
Yeah, I hear you.
So when I hear people say, "Oh, well, we got to save it for the podcast," and it's like, then I think, but wait, they all have like 3 or 4 TV shows that they do, so they can't say show. They have to differentiate. Okay, and then I'm like, that's fine, but it still sounds weird saying that word all the time.
No, you're not wrong.
Especially considering they're not just on iPods anymore. So
this is true. So they head out to make their documentary,
and the fucking van ride is the worst cinema I have ever seen in my life.
Oh, it's so long.
I don't care if I was in the middle of the woods in Calgary. I would have been like, just fucking drop me off here, you assholes. I'll walk.
It's like, yeah, it goes on forever, and they're bickering, and they're moaning, and they're bitching at each other.
Yeah, and it's like they just met, too. None of the insults are personal. None of the jokes have anything to do with anything outside of this. It's like a bunch of boob jokes or whatever.
Yeah, and they drive, what did they say, like 6 hours or something?
Yeah.
They drove like an exorbitant amount of time. It wasn't like they were like... This was like the local legend or something. Like
right.
They took a long trip to get to this place.
Yeah.
Which again doesn't make any sense because the teacher would be like, "No, you're not. No, this is not your project. Please come up with another idea." Right?
Yeah. I didn't finish this. It's the first time. Oh. It's the first time I got 3/4 of the way through the movie, and I'm like, "Fuck this." You know why?
It's bad.
It was just the third act of this, the last third of the movie, is literally screaming and shaking cameras. Mm-hmm. I couldn't deal with it anymore, and it takes a lot to get me to shut something off. This was just fucking awful.
Yeah, this was real. This was as they say. It was real bad.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. So the movie only runs like an hour and 20 minutes or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And we don't even get to the plantation for like 40 minutes.
Oh my God, it's worse than Grave Encounters 2. I like Grave Encounters 2.
For like 40 minutes.
But
it's unbelievable.
Yeah, there's so much bullshit leading up to the actual event in both of those movies. It's like, fucking come on, just get to the place.
Well, and there's the part where like they're like at the store or whatever, and they're asking questions about the place, and the lady with, for some reason, a Jamaican accent, like you hear it in the trailer, starts going off on them about you can't go there, and she just like it's like 0 to 100.
Yeah.
Like 0 to 100. And then also I was like, well, if this place was such a like hotbed for like bad things to happen, I'm pretty sure the police would like not allow people to go there. As a person that pays attention to like urban exploration and stuff and knows lots of people that do that, like the cops are always at these places.
Oh yeah, and that's something that Grave Encounters did correctly.
Correct.
There's cops.
Correct. So needless to say, they eventually get to the plantation. They hike through the woods. We see a ghost in a window. There's voices and noise, and it's just there's no special effects, and they do that thing.
By special effects, you mean makeup?
Yeah, sure.
There's not even that.
No, but they do that thing that they do in so many fucking movies now because digital editing is such a easy commodity for somebody to learn, where they like use static in the film to like let you know that something's coming.
Yes.
But like again, we talked about this when we talked about what was the one a couple weeks ago with the fake rain? I've already put the title out of my head.
It wasn't fear footage, was it?
Oh yeah, fear footage.
Okay.
Thank you. In the fear footage where they like digitally added the rain but like didn't render it in or like layer it in properly and it just kind of like sat in front of everything.
Yeah.
And they do that with the fucking static in this to show you that something's going to happen, but it looks like cartoony and fake because you didn't put any work into it. You just layered it on top of everything.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just
so. Yeah, screaming, yelling, I guess murder.
I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know.
See it.
Everybody that has been with the show for a long time knows that I will sit through just because that's the assignment. I will do that. Not this week.
You're taking a 0.
No, I watched most of it. I watched enough to give it a grade, I think.
All right, well then. How badly do you not recommend it?
Oh,
and what is your grade?
This is 100% not recommend. 100%. It's the only way I could see recommending this is if someone in this movie,
different movie with a different title.
If this was Star Wars, no. If someone from this movie got really big and famous, if like Cronenberg, we wouldn't have been talking about Shivers if he hadn't got big, right? So, right. If the director of this turns into somebody huge, then we'll be able to look and go back and go, oh shit, look how much they learned. And that's what the movie would be good for. But I can't give it an F because they made a full movie, and that's my own personal rule. It has to be so terribly offensive. Not like word offensive or anything, but like so like offensive to the idea of a film to give it an F. So this is a D-. It should fail because there's nothing redeemable about any of the characters' situation, place, camera work, editing. It's just somebody tried and they just didn't have the skill. So, but they hey, it's on Tubi and we watched it. So D-.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I can't recommend it in any way, shape, or form. As mad as I got about the fear footage a couple weeks ago, this is worse.
It really is.
It's worse.
Is it worse? Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's worse because like at least you could kind of joke around with fear footage.
Okay.
Like, what is happening? Why are you doing this? Like, why is this cop continuously going back to the VCR? Like, you can find some way to like find some humor in it. There's just nothing here. There's just nothing. It's a bunch of kids going to what's supposedly a haunted house. A couple sounds, a couple screams. Boom, it's over.
Yeah.
Pin me, pay me. Like, you know, like it's bad. It's real bad.
Yeah.
Real bad. It's the closest. Like, it's a D-, like as close as it can be to an F.
It's
just like you. The only reason I'm not failing it is because they finished it.
It's not an F out of courtesy. Really,
Right.
is what it is.
And maybe the director's gotten better. Maybe he's got some other stuff. But you know what?
Yeah.
This film's so bad. I'm not gonna search it out.
I might watch a trailer just to see. Just to see, hoping that they have honed their skills. Because I always want everybody to get better, you know?
Right. And I wonder if like this is the type of guy that just like the guy from Fear Factory or Fear Factor. Fear Factor. The Fear Factor. Just like continuously is making the same thing. Like his next movie was also a really bad found footage film.
There weren't there 3 of these Fear Factor movies?
Though.
Yeah.
You told me you were going to watch them all.
I got to find them. That's the tough part.
They're all on Tubi.
Oh, wait, they are?
I think so.
Oh, that must be a new thing for May then, because they weren't there when I looked before.
Or they're somewhere. All right, It doesn't matter.
No, it really doesn't.
All right. So, yeah, that movie sucks. Don't watch it.
No.
All right. But the real question is, what are we at? Scanners 4? No, not Scanners. Trancers 4?
We don't even know what movie he's watching.
I don't know. Let's just push play on and see what Joe
wants.
Well, hello, Bill. Hello, Chris. And hello, OTC Nation. It's your boy Joe here, and this week I actually got zombies. Bill made me watch Trancers 4.
Yes, part 4.
Jack of Swords. Okay, so here's the deal. I'm not sure I disclosed this in the past few weeks, after disclosing that I am indeed a fan of the Trancers series, that after part 3, they lost me. Both now and back in the 90s. So we're kind of in fresh territory here. I have not ever seen Trancers 4, 5, or 6. I only know that at some point, either in this movie or the next, that instead of space, as Chris alluded to last week, good call though, Chris, part 4 was usually where they would send franchises into space.
Yeah.
We don't get that here. Instead of space, Jack gets transported to medieval times.
Okay.
That's all I know.
The restaurant?
Okay. One thing that does not bode well here is that upon a quick browse of the IMDb for Trancers 4, I see that Tim Thomerson has proclaimed embarrassment for his participation in both Trancers 4 and 5.
Now
I'm not here to defend the Trancers movies, but that's pretty rich for a guy whose IMDb page reads like a reference list for straight-to-video schlock.
No kidding.
But at least he didn't go the route so many others have and start doing Christian persecution films once his shit started to flag off. Good on you, Tim. You may be embarrassed about Trancers 4 and 5, but if there is a God, imagine how fucking mortified they are by the Christian film industry. Fuck. Oh, right. Trancers 4.
Yeah.
Boys, they finally did it. They said the word. It took 4 films, but they finally said zombies. They spent 3 films saying a dozen words that all mean zombies, but avoided the word zombie like Vince McMahon avoids the words pro wrestling.
Or health insurance.
Right up top, Jack is doing his 40s detective Dashiell Hammett narration, and he says Trancers are super strong, single-minded zombies. Not gonna lie, though, he drops it so casually that I think this might have only been a thing for me. That'll happen. Anyway, 20 minutes in, and while I'm not hating this, I can absolutely see why Timmy T might not want this to be the crown jewel of his filmography. It's pretty lazy in its writing, clunky in its acting, and I think someone might have left the film stock in the sun because the cinematography is fuzzier than a Geezer Butler baseline. Jack comes back from a mission to find out that his wife left him for the head of the council. The conversation is fucking hilarious because based on the tone, you'd think they were just like casually arguing over whether chocolate zingers or raspberry zingers are better instead of, hey man, while you were gone, I was railing the love of your life like Union Pacific, and she's not even really interested in being in this film. The answer, by the way, is raspberry zingers. Quick bit of bland sexual tension between Jack and the new gadget person on the council, and he's off to his next mission. Something goes wrong, and instead of being sent to Kansas in 2160, he gets sent to a different dimension. A dimension that looks like they recycled a subspecies set in Romania, because it's all castles and peasants and smallpox, and someone get a Ouija board and get Stephen Hawking on how the fuck this literal other dimension is just like medieval Europe. Huh.
Yeah, Star Trek did that shit all the
In this
time.
place, the Trancers are not mindless zombies. That's right, I said it. They are, instead, the noble class, ruling over and feeding like vampires on the common folk. For some reason in this dimension, Trancers are now smart, ripped, eloquent, and you heard me right just a moment ago. They suck the necks of people to steal their, I guess, life force, which is something that the Trancers never did in any of the other films. I don't know what's going on there. I always appreciate an analogy of the parasitic nature of the ruling class, but it's done with the style and grace of a baby deer standing up for the first time. You ever seen that shit?
Yeah.
If there was any justice in the world, nature would just kind of like echo yakety sax in the background when that happens. So, here's a funny thing. You ever sit down and watch a movie and, while it's not bad, at some point you realize that they really only had about 35 minutes worth of movie to make, so they stretched that shit out like insert kinky porn joke here. They definitely did that here in Trancers 4. I don't think they really had much planned past Jack Death, Middle Ages, Trancers rule and humans drool, steal a few things from the first Deathstalker film, cash check. One of the subplots is the Lord of the Trancers' son is going to ascend or become one of them or whatever, and he's conflicted about it, and they don't really do a good job explaining it. There's a big old ceremony to confirm him or whatever. He refuses. Daddy Trancer gets mad. Jack gets rescued by the underground, and God damn it. This actually had potential, and I'm not even being nice or patronizing to this movie. There was potential here to make a cool, fun, funny, interesting movie, but they just didn't. There's about 20 minutes left here, and I don't give a shit. Here's the thing, but I'll let you know if anything interesting happens in the remaining time. Don't hold your breath. The good. Whoever cast the women in this film had a certain taste, and I'm here for it. They're all beautiful, but in the actual person you could see on the street beautiful? Also, I dig the Deathstalker vibe in terms of, like, scenery and wardrobe. The bad. The script is clunkier than one of those videos you see of people trying to invent the airplane and they're testing it out for the first time, and the machine just kind of, like, lamely flaps its wings a couple of times and bounces up and down before falling apart and presumably injuring the person operating it. Trancers 4 was a little better than 3, but still a big whiff at something that could have been good. It's going to get a C-, and I'll be back next week with Trancers 5, Sudden Death. I wish. Until then,
Things
be
that
good.
are hilarious.
Oh, wait. Spoiler alert. Nothing really happened in the last 20 minutes. Jack beats the bad guy, but then they leave it open-ended for a fifth one. Be good, everyone.
Things that are hilarious. The fact that I didn't realize I played last week's segment until he got to the joke about the airplanes.
Yeah, it sounded really familiar there.
Yeah, I played the wrong one.
Like, because
that's how forgettable these films are.
There was a part of me where I'm like, didn't he tell us about zombies last week?
Yeah.
But then again, I talked to so many people about movies. I'm like, I don't fucking remember anything anymore.
So, I guess I'm going to give Joe the week off because I don't really have time to play the next segment.
That's fair.
I have to go coach baseball.
Right.
So, sorry, Joe. Man, I'm bad at. Should I just play Scott's segment from last week too?
If you want to hear about it for 6 months, yes.
Oh no, he'll be like, well, fuck me, it make too much work. All right, if we haven't alienated you already,
here's Holy Shit with Reverend Scott.
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. With Reverend Scott.
Oh, I'm an 80s chick and I'm getting banged.
Hey there, Chris and the other guy.
Do you know who I am?
Sure I do. It's Chris and the other host of the show.
You don't know who you're talking to, do you, sir?
Fine. No, I forget. Who are you?
Bill.
Well, nice to meet you, Bill. This is Reverend Scott.
Hey, What's up?
Oh, nothing much. Just doing my segment. And yo, I'm sorry you had to wait a whole week to hear me again, but no worries. You're finally getting to hear me now.
I'm going to go pee.
Really? Right now, Chris?
Yep.
Fine. Well, at least, what's his name is still here.
It's okay, John. I'm here for you.
So we can discuss a new movie I saw. But before we do that, let's talk trash.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yep.
Tell you what, how about you pick what we start with?
Okay, New York Ninja.
That sounds good. Let's hear a trailer. Just kidding. Here's the real trailer.
Oh, holy shit, dude.
Holy shit is right. This movie jigsaw puzzle that Vinegar Syndrome pieced together and pulled in amazing voices for has been the talk of the town lately. It's got most reviewers saying,
Oh my God.
and sure, it's a simple plot of a man's pregnant wife being murdered.
So then he just basically is like, I need to get revenge. And he becomes New York Ninja.
Sure, yeah. That's the thing.
Which was a great name because all they had to do for merchandise was add the word ninja to a bunch of I Heart New York t-shirts.
Yeah. Yep.
I haven't seen this movie yet, but I can already tell that I love it more than everyone loved the Plutonium Killers selection.
Yes. My clients will love these ladies.
I give the movie an A, and I give the review an A too. But now I regret to inform you that it's all downhill from here. Because up next, it's Smiley Face. Let's hear a trailer.
Carrot Top.
I think this was about Anna Faris eating pot brownies and John Krasinski trying to help her make more. I don't know. Chris, if you're back from your pee, can you tell us about the plot?
Stoners are lazy and stupid.
Cool. I give this movie a C-, and I give the review a B-. Chris said it was the best marijuana movie he's ever seen. Isn't that right?
Yes. Oh, no.
No?
Hold on a minute.
Now that we've got that turd out of the way, what's this turd been watching? Well, if me saying that I watched a new movie wasn't enough to give it away, I went to your boy, the movie theater, and checked out Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Why don't you tell us about it, Chris?
Like, it's really strange.
It certainly is. Now, I'm guessing there's a good chance that one or both of you haven't seen this yet, so I'll avoid spoilers. I'll just say this much. It involves travel between universes. Multiverses, if you will. Lots of scenes of Doctor Strange looking around at some wild stuff and thinking,
oh, shit, what's happening now?
And as you probably already know, this is a Sam Raimi directed film, and it definitely shows. Lots of people looking into the camera, quick zooms in on faces, pretty brutal violence for a Marvel movie, and a few things that I won't mention. And an amazing Bruce Campbell cameo. And you know that's not a spoiler, he's always in Sam Raimi's back pocket. There's also a few other cameos that were pretty fun to see in a Marvel movie and may lead to some interesting movies in the future. This is wildly entertaining and a lot more so than the first Doctor Strange.
It's an interesting story, to say the least.
True.
I'm not going to say I liked it more than, say, Spider-Man No Way Home, but it did have something major in common with it. They both took story or character elements straight from Into the Spider-Verse. I won't specify, but the villain in Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Verse have a lot of things in common. I'll just leave it at that. I'll definitely say this is worth a watch, and if you love Sam Raimi like I do, you'll especially enjoy this movie. I give it a B+, and when you see it, it's important that you stay after the credits. It's groovy. Okay, that's all the spoilers I'm going to allude to for now, but make sure you all tune in to Outside the Cinema next week when Bill gives me some segment advice.
Hey, please don't do this anymore.
After that, Bill warns me that if I spoil any of these new movies, he's kicking me off the show.
All it takes is that one time. You know what I mean? Like, it takes that one time.
Then Chris remembers the name of my segment.
Holy shit.
And finally, Bill talks about our future collaborations.
Hey, listen, you are a fucking complete disaster.
Yeah.
I want nothing to do with you anymore.
So look forward to all that and so many more complete disasters you want nothing to do with anymore. But until then, peace and love, guys.
I can only assume that he didn't have the James Balsamo boobs clip to throw
I
in there.
guess not.
If you remember James, he is into boobs and making low-budget horror films.
We're all into boobs, but he is very vocal about
Yes.
it.
Boy, I sure wish I had that clip.
Hey everybody, James Balsamo here, ready to talk about boobs! Those are great boobs!
I'm assuming he got Me Too'd at some point.
I don't know. I haven't talked to James in a while. I don't think he has it.
No, I'm joking, of course, because he's not gross about it. In that clip,
thanks
he's
for
not
listening
gross
to the
about
show.
it.
In this specific instance. Thanks for listening, everyone. You can follow the Facebook group. Just look up Outside the Cinema in the groups. You can follow Chris and I on Instagram at OTCBill and at Cthulhu. If you want to join the Patreon, patreon.com/OutsideTheCinema. Monthly donation gets you access to all kinds of stuff you can do. You can have shindigs with it and everything. That's pretty much it for this week. I don't know what we're doing next week. We will figure it out, though. Chris, you got anything to add?
Not really.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Everyone have a good week. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.